Security has seen a massive increase in people filing for Social Security benefits over the last several months compared to this time last year. So, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the reasons why so many people are deciding to go ahead and pull the trigger and start their retirement benefits, spouse benefits, survivor benefits, whatever the case may be now. And maybe that might be for you. So if you're considering, if you're on the fence whether you should go ahead and file now or wait, or if you're already receiving benefits, there are some options to change your mind, a kind of a mulligan, a do-over. All right, so I'm going to talk about that. That's the topic of the day. I'll talk about it for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'll get into your questions. I already got a bunch of questions here on all things Social Security. So for the rest of the hour after I talk about today's topic, I'll answer as many questions as we can get to. All right, let's stop stalling and get right into the meat of it. So, why are so many people? What's this big rush? So, over 500,000 people more people this year filed for benefits than the same time last year. And obviously, it's the baby boomers, between 1946 and 1964, you've got about over 70 million people, born during the baby boomers years. And we've got about 11,000 people turning 65 every single day. Obviously, you don't have to be 65 to start your Social Security benefits. You can be 62 or you can be 70. Please don't start them after 70 because you're definitely going to be losing money. And that's number two, the 70 rule awakening. I Unfortunately, the regular viewers to my channel know that there's way too many people that come onto our live Q&A and say, hey, I'm 72 years old. When should I start benefits? And everybody does a collective 2 years ago. So you basically lost a year and a half of benefits. You can get a 6-month retro, but please do not wait till after 70 years old. If we're talking about spouse benefits or surviving spouse benefits, then your benefits don't increase after your full retirement age. So a lot of people are coming to the realization that, oh, oops, I should have filed, because your benefits stop maxing out at 70. And people are saying, no, Ed, your benefits stop maxing out at your full retirement age. Yes and no. Your benefits go to your full benefit amount in terms of your primary insurance amount at your full retirement age. And then every year you wait after that, your benefits are increased by 8%. So for every 12 months you wait, your benefits are going to be increased by 8%. So if your full retirement age is 67 and you wait until 70, that's 3 years. 3 times 8, 24%. So your benefits are going to be 24% above your max primary insurance amount at your full retirement age. So there's a lot of people realizing that. And then we've got economic uncertainty. I think the 3 and 4 are the big things this year. That people don't know what's going to happen in terms of the economy. A lot of people losing their jobs because of the tariffs, AI, just uncertainty out there. Businesses don't know what to do. They don't know what the policies are going to be from one day to the other. The tariffs are this percent and then that percent. And AI, should we hire people or should we just give it to AI? There's just so much uncertainty out there, and it's trickling down to regular people that are trying to, make ends meet during retirement. So there's a lot of economic uncertainty there. So people kind of hedge their bets and say, well, at least I know I got a Social Security check, and there's going to be an issue in about 8 years on that Social Security check in terms of cuts because we haven't, pushed our politicians to fix it. But I've talked about that many times, so I'll make sure you check out some of my other videos, or if you have a question, I'll answer it during the live Q&A if you're watching this live. Policy change. Again, the policy changes. There hasn't been any Social Security policy changes other than the nightmare kind of daily changes that have taken place once Doge and Elon Musk took over Social Security. They said everybody has to go down to the local office to file, and then they said they don't, and then they said they do, and then they said, okay, only these people have to do it. And then if you get overpaid, we're going to hold back 10% or 50% or 100%. So that has been a nightmare trying to keep up. I think the dust has settled a little bit. but I'm going to keep you all up to date on everything related to all of those changes. So make sure you like and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff. Digital filing revolution. We've got a lot of people filing online. They just go ahead and pull the trigger online. You don't necessarily have to talk to a human being, but some of the things you definitely need to do is make sure you don't file at the wrong time. So let's move over to that and to see if you should be filing now. So red flags to wait. So if you're under your full retirement age and still working, then no, you should not do it. But working in the sense of over the annual earnings limit. So there's an annual earnings limit this year is $23,400. Anything you earn over that, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over that amount. So if you're making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, then it's probably a good idea to go ahead and wait. But there is a monthly earnings limit as well. And it's important that people know the difference. So I've got a website, it's mygovexpert.com, and you can go in there and on the retirement page, when to start, it gives you the idea of exactly what is the best time for you. I've got I'll go into the calculator here in a little bit, but monthly basically is that Social Security doesn't care what you made before you start your Social Security benefits that first year. You can make $1 billion before you started your Social Security benefits, but the month you start your Social Security benefits, that's when they care. So you have to earn under $1,950. The first month you earn under $1,950 and intend to stay under that amount for the rest of the year, then you can go ahead and start your benefits, no matter, again, how much you made before. Maximizing your earnings. So some people say, well, no, I want to put a few more years in there. Remember, your benefits will increase. So if you go ahead and file for Social Security benefits at 62, 64, 65, or whatever the case may be, and continue working, and that work is one of your high 35 years, then that will increase your Social Security benefit. Whether you're 67, 77, 87, 97, you're 97 years old and you're working, you make a bunch of money, and that's one of your high 35 years, that will increase your Social Security benefit. So another reason is health. If you're healthy and you can wait in terms of, financial, then it might be a good idea to go ahead and wait. And again, let me pop up my calculator here, and because we want to make sure you don't make a mistake and file at the wrong time. So I've got some of the tricks here. So avoid the $100,000 life mistake. So let me go ahead and jump in the calculator right now, and I'll show you what that means. So again, you go onto my website, mygovexpert.com. And you click on the Social Security part, you click on the retirement page there, you click on when to start, and then I've built a nice little calculator there. So you type in, you say, okay, my date of birth is March 7th, let's say 1961, and your PIA. Where do you get your PIA? That is, you can get it obviously from Social Security. You can get it from you go to myssa.gov, set up a My Social Security account, which I'll talk about here in a bit. It's very, very important you do that. Let's say your benefit amount, if you wait till your full retirement age, let's say it's 1741. So I type in 1741 there. You don't have to mess with the life expectancy there. You just click on the calculate benefits, and it says, based on yours, it might be a good idea if you're healthy and everything to wait till 70 to file. And why is that? Is because of this little graph here. So if you start your benefits at 62, then that blue line there, that's what it's going to look like. If you start at 70, then there's the green line. So if you start your benefits at 62, when you hit 86 years old, again, this is not including, the cost of money and COLA increases. This is just, the basic number. If you started your benefits at 62, your lifetime earnings at 86 would be $350,000. Okay. If you had waited till 70, your lifetime earnings would be $414,000. So there is that break-even point. The break-even point in this particular case is about 80 years old. So after 80 years old, it would have it's less beneficial for you to start at 62 and you should have waited until 70. But nobody, nobody can tell you the best time for you to file unless they ask you a bunch of questions, and nobody knows 100% for certain when you should have filed. The only time I or anybody can tell you 100% for certain when you should have started your Social Security benefits is the day you shuffle off your mortal coil, as Shakespeare would say. And that's the time, I could do the calculations in 2 seconds and, oh yeah, you should have definitely started at 62. You should have definitely started at 67. You should have definitely started at 70. But obviously by then it's too late. So all you do is you just, you figure whether you need the money. Are you healthy? Are you working? Or is your spouse waiting for benefits for you to start your benefits so they can start their benefits? Do you have any children? So there's just so many questions that you have to ask, and I've got a bunch of videos that go into more of those particular questions. So another question is your spouse has a lower benefit? If you're looking to file for benefits on your spouse and actually your spouse has a lower benefit, so you can't, then you might want to wait to increase your benefit amount. Again, the green lights to file is 70. Please don't wait till after you're 70 years old to start benefits. If you need the income now, you need the income now. If you got health concerns, if you're saying, well, I'm, based on my family genes and health, I'm not going to last to 86. So I'm just going to go ahead and get while the getting's good. Divorce spousal benefits available if you're divorced and you have spousal benefits because your benefit amount is less than half of that person's, then it might be a good idea to go ahead and get started because you have to file for benefits on your own record, but you can also get those other benefits based on that other person's record. Okay, so all of this is not written in stone. You can file for benefits and you can change your mind. So it's a 12-month kind of do-over rule. So within 12 months, if you go ahead and start your benefits and within 12 months, you change your mind and you said, oh, I shouldn't have done that, you can withdraw your application like it never happened. And because when you withdraw it like it never happened, then it never happened, you never should have received those benefit amounts. So you have to pay back all the benefits you received, right? Another thing that's very, very important that I recommend every time I do one of these lives is check your earnings record. Go into ssa.gov, set up a My Social Security account, and check your earnings record to make sure Social Security has all the correct numbers. And tell your young'uns in your life, your relatives, kids, nephews, nieces, doesn't matter how old they are, tell them once tax season is over, it ain't over. Tell them, okay, after tax season is over, go into your My Social Security, check your earnings, and make sure Social Security got those numbers. Because there's too many people that contact me through this live and they say, hey, Ed, I just noticed that in 1982, the earnings aren't correct. It's like, well, you got to see if you can get them corrected. And well, I don't have this and I don't have, yeah, it's already too late. So if you would have done that in 1983 or 1984, 1985, well, you still had all that documentation, then you would have been a lot better. But now you've lost benefits for the rest of your life, unfortunately. So, and avoid that $100,000 mistake in terms of filing at the wrong time, and then know your break-even point. So what I just talked about is the break-even point. So again, but you're just doing your best guess, and then you go into my website again, and all of the other information. So if you want any more benefits on information on eligibility, on when to start the application process, working in benefits, as I talked about, if you want to, what did he mean annual versus monthly? You go in there and it has explanations on earnings monthly versus annual. And I even got a nice little calculator there that you can put in there and try to figure out. And it tells you exactly what counts as income, what doesn't count as income. And these resources are all 100% free to you. But if you want to throw a couple of bucks to support, you can definitely do that on the front page and throw a couple of bucks and subscribe to the newsletter, provide any feedback. And a brand new thing I just added this last couple of days is this question or comment. So you click on this little question or comment in the bottom left, and you can do a video asking me a question. And I answer 100% of those through the live Q&A. So I love seeing y'all's face. So please record a video, and I will definitely answer it. All right, let's go ahead and get into the live Q&A. As usual, this is sponsored by our guys there at Chapter who help you all out with all things Medicare, Medicare supplements and uh, Advantage and all the rest of it. So, FC, thank you for all your help. And I tell everyone about your channel. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers worldwide and those who will become fathers one day. And God bless. Yeah, everybody's wishing a happy Father's Day to everybody. All right. Happy Father's Day, Dr. Ed, and to all the fathers. You should be relaxing, enjoying the day, but glad you're here with us. Yes, I'm a glutton for punishment. I like doing this every day. Yeah, gets me going. So, yeah, let's see here. I get some actual questions. I refuse to watch a too big waste of money. Oh, we're talking about the parade. Yeah, I actually did a live yesterday watching the parade together and being an old Marine Corps sergeant. Yeah, the marching was yeah, that wasn't watch. That wasn't marching. That was walking down the street. Yeah, for most of them, most of the units were just walking down the street. So yeah. Let's see. Somebody asked, how can I get my mother on Medicare? Okay, so to get Medicare, have to be if you're not on disability, then you have to be 65 years old, at least 65 years old. So I'm not sure how old your mother is, but let's say she's turning 65 here, then you should definitely get ready to sign her up for Medicare, unless she has health insurance from current work, hers or her spouse's current work, and that employer has 20 or more employees. If that's the case, then she doesn't have to get Part B. She can go ahead and sign up for Part A, but since it's zero premium anyway, but Part B, you can just she can just refuse that, save the $185. Okay. Um, if she still wants to sign up for Medicare because she doesn't have that creditable coverage, then if she's already receiving benefits, then they will sign her up for Medicare automatically at 65. Okay, so if she's already receiving benefits about 2 or 3 months before she turns 65, Medicare will sign her up for Medicare automatically. She'll get her package in the mail. And be careful. A lot of people miss that because they get so much junk when they turn 65 that says Medicare, and it looks like it's an official Medicare package, but it's not. So people throw away their actual package and throw away their card. So be careful of that. And then if that's not the case, then she needs to sign up because she just lost her employment or something like that. Then she has a special enrollment period. And again, go onto my website and click on the tab that says Medicare, and then it'll tell you the special enrollment period. But if she doesn't have a special enrollment period, that she just lost her employer, or just lost Medicaid or something, then she'll probably have to wait until January to sign up for Medicare because she's missed her initial and special enrollment periods. But you can reach out to a Chapter and they can help you and her through the entire process, because you not only need to sign up for Medicare Part A and Part B, but you also need to find something to cover all those gaps, because A and B doesn't cover all the gaps. There's 6 financial gaps that she'll have to be paying for. So that's why people get either a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare supplement. I always, always, always recommend a Medicare supplement plan first. At least check out a Medicare supplement plan and see if it's for you. So, and then say, hey, tell me about Medicare supplements. And then say, okay, now tell me about Medicare Advantage. So make sure you talk about both. Let's see. Take and Took, hey, what's up? Glad the clips of the parade were shown on this channel because I didn't want to give Trump any TV ratings for his silly stunt, but it was nice to see the empty seats in the stands along the path. Yeah, it wasn't North Korea or China or even the one in France, the Bastille Day one. But let's see here, get some questions. Bonnie, I watched the parade. I liked it. I have at least 15 people in the family that were in the Army right now. 250 years is a long time. Praying for Israel now. Yeah, 250 years is definitely a long time. Yeah, the Marine Corps started in 17 Ton Tavern, 1776. Yeah. Marine Corps. Yes, the Marine Corps was started. I'm going off on a tangent on the Marine Corps, but the Marine Corps was started in a bar, and Marines always say, we started in a bar, we're going to end in a bar. So, Someone asked, I am on Medicare supplement plan because of my state retirement plan. I pay the $185 part. Um, okay. Yeah. So a Medicare supplement, usually the state one. So you probably have some type of Medicare Advantage or supplement from the state. So sometimes the state reimburses you that part of money. So depends on what state you're in. How much money can I make on straight disability? Good question. Um, so if you're on regular SSDI, the you can make $1,620. But the first 9 months, there's called the trial work period. So for the first 9 months, you can make $1 billion a month, and it doesn't matter because Congress, everybody wants you to go back to work because you make more money going back to work, and you don't take money out of the trust fund. You pay taxes when you work. So everybody wants you to go back to work if you're able to. That's why they set up all these programs to allow you to try to go back to work. But navigating the disability work incentives, as what they call it, is kind of touchy, and you have to make sure you do it right. That's why on my website, I've got a big work incentives guide, and I've got a calculator there, and it kind of walks you through the process to make sure you don't get in trouble, but you're still able to, support your family. So let's see, get some other questions. What do we have here? Bunch of happy Father's Day and a lot of parade type stuff. The parade was actually very well put together. I love history, and they put the vehicles and Army people and the war groups going all the way back to the inception. The commentators were really interesting. Yeah, Lori, I agree. I like I'm a historian as well, so I always like anytime they throw history in there to see the old uniform. So that I agree. That was kind of nice. Maureen, I will be 64 in October 2025. Should I wait to take Social Security benefits then, or if I take them now, will I lose much dollars taking them a few months earlier? That is a good question. A lot of people make a mistake on. They think that they have to file on their birthday or they have to file 12 months before. No, you can file any month before, between 62 and 70. After 70, but you're losing money. But every month you file early, your benefits are reduced a little bit. So whether it's 1 month or 3 months or 5 months. So if you're going to be 64, it depends. If you're working, making over the annual earnings limit, then that's a whole different issue. But a few months early, usually, you do the calculations, go into my calculator there, and it'll tell you, let's say if you retire, 3 months early, it'll reduce your benefits by $15. So $15. But then again, it'll reduce your benefit by $15 for the rest of your life. And you're like, well, I don't lose $15 for the rest of my life. But then you say, okay, but then I'll get 3 months of checks. So if you get $2,000 a month, let's say you get 3 checks ahead of the game, that's, $2, $4, $6,000. And then you divide, by $15. And it'll probably usually takes like 14 years to make up that difference. So it's an easy calculation to do. So you just have to figure out whether you want that extra $15 or $20, or if you want those 2 or 3 or 4 extra checks that maybe you could use now and, take a vacation or pay off some credit cards or something like that. So James, question, can I draw my Social Security even though I'm on SSDI? I'm 61. Yes, you can, but you're going to cut your benefit by about 30%. So if you want 30% less, go for it. So yeah, nobody really does that because you're on disability. That means you're receiving your full retirement benefit. So you're asking me whether you should cancel your disability, possibly lose your Medicare, and then file for a reduced benefit amount. If that's the question you're asking me, no, because you can't get both. Yeah. I need to take taxes taken out of my SSI. Is there a fax number or do I have to go face-to-face to an office? So you're talking about the W-4V, the voluntary tax withholding. Now, they just changed the policy last year that you can actually do that over the phone now. So you can call the 800 number or your local Social Security office, and they can do that over the phone. If not, for some reason, then you just download a form. It's a W-4V. Easy, you just pick 7%, 15%, 22% withholding, and then you just fax it to your local Social Security office or take it down there, or whatever the case may be, and they can get it set up for you. And the next question people ask me is, how much did I get taken out? Well, it really depends on all your other income and everything. And you can change it every year. So what people do is they usually, if they want to go ahead and have taxes taken out of Social Security, they go ahead and, pick 7% or 22 or 15 or whatever. And then when they do their taxes the following year, they talk to their accountant and say, hey, it looks like you took too much or not enough. And then they adjust it and get it all tweaked in there. So Carol, can you please tell me if you're 63, does Social Security take 4%? 4%? No, you're 63, they're going to take more than that. If you're 62, it's reduced by 30%. So 63 is definitely a lot more. Just received my first Social Security check. I'm 65. Do I have to apply for Medicare, or does it automatically happen, and is $885 automatically withdrawn without me doing anything? So you just received your first Social Security check. So that means you filed, within the last month or two. So at that time, they should have, talked to you about it when you filed, unless you filed online. No, yeah, you should be receiving your Medicare card in the mail. So you can go on to mysocialsecurity.gov and check that, or another way you can call Chapter. They have access to the Medicare system a little bit, and they can see when your Medicare started, or if it started, because you also remember, because you're 65, and if you want Medicare, then you need to cover all those gaps, the 20% co-insurance on Part B, and the deductibles and the co-insurance and all that stuff. So you need to start figuring out what you're going to do, whether you're going to do a Medicare supplement plan, which one are you going to do? Are you going to do a Plan N or a Plan G? Are you going to do a Medicare Advantage plan? Are you going to do an HMO or a PPO? Are you going to, are your doctors are going to be covered? Your prescriptions, how much? So there's just so many decisions. That's why I partnered up with Chapter, so you can give them a call and they can find out all that about what's going on, whether your card is on the way, and tell you what to do if your card is not on the way, and then help you find a plan, 100% free. In terms of the $185, if you're 65 now, that's a good indication. So I would definitely look at your Social Security check. Is it $185 short? If it's $185, then that means, they did sign you up for Medicare. But I'm almost 99.9% sure they signed you up for Medicare, and it's ever automatic if you filed within the last few days, last month or two, unless you specifically said that, no, I don't want Medicare because I'm currently working and I have health insurance from work. If that's the case, then you're not going to be charged $185. So, and the $185, if you're receiving Social Security benefits, is withheld automatically from your Social Security check. So, it's Phyllis. I've been on SSDI for about 10 hours now, maybe 10 years. My husband started SSDI at 64, and he just passed June 6th. Wow, so sorry to hear that. We have been married 22 years. Will I get his SSDI? If so, do I know how much? Okay, so you won't get his SSDI. You'll get, it's retirement benefits. So let's see. I've been in SSDI for 10 years. If you're at least 62 years old, then yes. Or actually, because we're talking about survivor benefits, if you're at least 60 years old, you can get survivor benefits. And it doesn't matter that you're on disability benefits. You get those benefits above and beyond what your disability is. One offsets the other. You don't get two checks. It just one offsets the other, and you get the difference. So if you're at least 60 years old, you definitely need to call Social Security. Because there's going to be some stuff that happens because he just passed away. He's not entitled. He's entitled to this month's check, the check that comes in June, because the check that comes in June is for May. So the May check comes in June. So if he gets a check today or tomorrow or next week, that's your check. He's entitled to that. He won't get a check for next month because next month check is for this month. So you have to be alive the entire month. So, but the entire system should process. If he passed away in the United States, the Department of Treasury and Social Security will probably stop that. So you need to do a few things. You definitely need to file for that lump sum death benefit, the $255. I know it's been that $255 for decades. It's stupid, but hey, it's $250. It's your $255. It's your money. And then at that time, ask them about survivor benefits. So if his benefit amount was higher than yours, then you're definitely entitled to survivor benefits. And again, it won't affect your disability. It won't kick you off Medicare because you're receiving survivor benefits or anything like that. No, it'll just increase your benefit amount. But you might want to wait. If you're below your full retirement age and you go ahead and start those survivor benefits, they might be reduced. Well, they'll definitely be reduced because he was receiving SSDI. There's this other calculations called widow's limb, and I'm not going to go into it because it's not relevant to you. But anyway, whatever his benefit amount, that's what you're entitled to based on your age. So if you file for benefits, if you're 63 years old right now and file for survivor benefits, you're going to get his benefit subtracted, lowered because you're filing early. If you can wait, and to increase your benefit amount, you can wait until your full retirement age to get his full benefit amount. So it depends on whether you want the money now or you can wait for it to increase. So, but anyway, call Social Security, set up an appointment to get that $255, and at that time, ask them, say, hey, if I go ahead and start those survivor benefits now, how much is it going to be? If I wait until next year or 2 years from now, how much is it going to be? And then you make your decision. So. And again, sorry for your loss, Phyllis. Looks like a lot of it was sponsored by different companies. Yeah, we're going to honor the Army by UFC and Coinbase. What the heck was that? Rich people aren't going to want to pay universal income. So what's going to happen when AI replaces humans? Yes, that's. I think Elon Musk actually he was kind of a supporter of some type of universal income, which is surprising considering he unalived possibly hundreds of thousands of people in throughout the world because he shut off the assistance that we were providing, that our elected members decided to provide to people throughout the world, and he unilaterally said, no, we're not going to do that. So I'm not sure what godlike complex he has, but anyway, while having SSDI and Medicaid, if you have retirement from TSA, which can be taken at 62, I believe, can I refuse the retirement so I'm not eligible for my current medical care? Usually no, because Medicaid, if you wrote it kind of strange, if it's Medicare, you can refuse it. But if you actually mean Medicaid, then that is a welfare-based program, a needs-based program for people that need it. And if you have any other money out there available to you, they almost always obligate you to file for those benefits. So, it's like you have to take it to its logical or illogical conclusion. If someone wins a $10 million lottery and they say, well, I don't want to take that. I don't want to cash it out. I want to just leave it in the bank, and or I'm not going to cash out my ticket because I have Medicaid, from the state, and they're paying my bills and stuff like that, and so I don't want to take my $10 million. And no, that's obviously you're not talking $10 million. You're probably talking a few hundred or 1,000 or 2,000 or so. But that's the logic behind that. So. Lori, I was thinking about why Social Security is going to run out of money. I think it's because so many people are starting their own businesses and don't pay into FICA. No, that could be a big drop for the trust fund. All right, so a couple of things there. This is one of the myths out there, and that's one of the new sections of my website is myths debunked. And, so is it going bankrupt and insolvent? So I've got all those myths down there, and I tell you why these myths are dangerous and why politicians and the rest of us keep repeating these same incorrect myths. So basically, number one is the Social Security is not going to run out of money. As long as there's people working and paying into Social Security, then Social Security is going to be around for hundreds of years. Is your check going to be reduced by about 20%? Yes, because the trust fund is running out. So that's covering the gap right now. And when that disappears, just like any savings don't last forever, then you're going to get a cut. Everybody's going to get at least a 20% cut across the board. So Social Security is always going to be here, but we're going to get cuts if we don't do something. And we've had decades to do something. We haven't done it yet, so I'm not sure. The reason all of this is the issue is not because of people starting little businesses on Etsy or, lawn care or something like that. It's because since the 1980s, this country has become phenomenally wealthy, but that money has gone to the top. And after you make $176,100, you no longer pay Social Security FICA tax anymore. Now, a lot of people don't know. That's why Social Security is in dire need, is because the money that we used to pay into Social Security, we don't get it anymore to pay it into Social Security. It's going to the top 1 or 10%. So if they paid FICA tax like we did on every dollar we make, then we would be good for hundreds of years, and we'd be able to expand benefits and give people more that are struggling, and we could do so much. But the people at the top don't want to do that. They just say, hey, fraud, waste, and abuse, we'll go in there and solve this problem about 20 million zombies receiving benefits. But guess what? They weren't. So let's see. We are entering the baby boomers retirement age group, big influx of Social Security benefits over the next 5+ years. Yes. Yeah. 11,000 people every day turn 65. If I get a business grant, would that stop my SSI? Yeah. SSI is a welfare-based, needs-based program. Anytime you get any type of benefits, any type of income, resources like that, it just might affect your SSI. But SSI, if you're trying to program for self-support, again, Social Security, not Social Security, Congress made these laws, and Social Security just implements those laws. But Congress says, hey, Social Security, y'all need to try to help people get off SSI and SSDI. So you should, if they're trying to do stuff like that, then you should help them so they can get off. So in your particular case, if you're on SSI and you're on SSI because of a disability and you're trying to work through your disability and start a business, number one, awesome for you. Good. That's great. And so I would reach out to SSI. I would reach out to the SSI CS, the claim specialist in your local office, or the AWIC. And each area throughout the country, Social Security offices, they have an AWIC, a specialist. It's called the Area Work Incentives Coordinator. And they supposedly, depending on who they assigned, nowadays, the AWICs were usually, the people that were there at Social Security the longest, and they really know their stuff. Those people, Elon Musk and Doge, have kicked out of the agency. So you might not be able to find one that really knows their stuff, if there even one available. But anyway, reach out to Social Security and say, hey, I'm receiving SSI based on my disability, based on the new medications or surgery I had, or whatever the case may be. I think I'm going to try to see if I can work a little bit. And what do I have to do? What hoops do I have to jump through? What do I have to make sure I don't do? Will it stop my benefits? Well, therefore, it would stop my Medicaid. And so I would definitely check out all that before you did that. And then you can go onto my website, mygovexpert.com, and I have an entire section on SSI. So that might answer some of your questions as well. So how long does disability last when approved? Basically, if you're approved for disability at 40 years old, you will receive a check for the rest of your life. So there's that. But your disability, nobody in the country is receiving disability benefits after 67 or after their full retirement age. If their full retirement age is 65, or 66 or 67, or whatever it is, they no longer receive disability benefits. And a lot of people out there yelling at the screen and say, no, I'm 70 years old and I'm receiving this. No, you're not. You're receiving retirement benefits now. Your benefits switched at full retirement age from disability benefits to regular retirement benefits, which is great for you because You no longer have any work limitations. If you want to work, Social Security doesn't care. Go for it. You're no longer on disability, so they're not going to stop your check because you work. And I tell this almost every time I do this video, is because there's people out there that are struggling, that are, 69, 74, and, their friend down the street offers them a job doing X, Y, and X, Y, and Z. And they say, wow, I could really use that extra money, but I don't want to get my disability benefit stopped. I'm like, no, take the job. If you can do it, because you're no longer on disability. You can do whatever you want. You can make $1 billion a month. Social Security doesn't care. And stop worrying about those CDRs, the continuing disability reviews, because you're not on disability anymore. You're just on regular retirement. So please spread the word out there. There's so many people that could make their life easier. So like, subscribe, share. What happens if you have SSI retirement and won the lottery? So SSI, then if you won the lottery, then you're no longer getting SSI. If by SSI you mean SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program Social Security administers. If you are receiving just regular retirement, SSA retirement, just regular Social Security retirement, then it doesn't matter. No relevance whatsoever. It's not earned income. So congratulations. The woman government person died instantly. That's out of here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we've got the awesomest community. Glenda, thank you. My condolences on your loss, Phyllis. Wow, we've got the best community on all social media. Does SSD usually take 2 years for them to get a response in counting? I'm 60 years old. Not usually, but it does happen, unfortunately. Yeah, Social Security is there. Even before Doge and Elon Musk and the current administration came in, they were at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. So it's a nightmare. So I'd reach out. If you've been waiting 2 years, that means you're at the administrative law judge stage. You applied, you were denied, you filed an appeal, and you were denied, and now you're at the third stage, and you're waiting for your day in court to see an administrative law judge. So yeah, it shouldn't take that long. I would reach out to your politician, your senator, congressperson, and say, hey, this is BS. What are you doing to support Social Security so they can do their job and support us? All right, the people that actually pay into Social Security, because Paul, you paid for that support. All those decades you paid into Social Security, that money goes to your disability or retirement or whatever the case may be, survivor benefits, spouse benefits when you need those. But it also goes to help to get those benefits when you need them. And you're not getting that help right now because Congress refuses to give the money that you gave for that help to Social Security. Yeah, and the reason they're not is because they want Social Security to fail. So we can complain and yell at Social Security, and they say, yeah, we agree, Social Security sucks. So let's give it to our buddies on Wall Street. The blueprint for that is in my YouTube description. You look in the description, it says the blueprint, the plan that was written up in the 1980s, and they're fulfilling their plan perfectly. So Gwendolyn, thanks much for the information. It really helps. Oh, thanks, Gwendolyn. And Gwendolyn helps you, but you're going to go out there and help other people make sure they get all the benefits they're eligible for, right? And Gwendolyn, the other new section to my website, I had over the last 2 weeks, I added a lot of sections. So in the more, you've got questions on overpayments, I've got another section on living overseas, another section for veterans, another section for Medicaid, another section about Social Security cards, appeals, and then also one on living on Social Security alone. All the different programs out there that might make your life a bit easier. So, and then I'm also working on, this one is going to be a little bit tougher, consolidating community resources that I'm going to need y'all's help on to make sure it's the best in the country, the best resource place in the country. IE Pent, I've been on it 20 years. Oh, probably talk about disability. It does not have a limited time period unless the condition has gotten healed. That's right. Yep. yeah, unless you've gotten better or were able to, uh, you know, the person that started Social Security is FDR. He had polio, was in a wheelchair. So he would be considered disabled, but no, not disabled because he was able to work, even though he was in a wheelchair and stuff. So it really depends. Some people, like Stephen Hawking, the famous physicist, he was definitely disabled, but he Social Security would say no because he was working. He was writing books and stuff like that. So people can still have that disability, but not qualify for disability because it's all about your ability to work and produce what Social Security calls substantial, gainful employment. Let's see here. I've been on SSDI for 15 years. I never had a CDR, a continuing disability review, that I know of. Well, yeah, you would know it. Does SSA send CDRs directly to doctors and if happy with response, not bother sending anything to recipient? No, they always send it to you. So they send you a short form or a long form or whatever. So my philosophy on CDRs, continuing disability reviews, is forget about it. Ignore it. If you get it in the mail, then do your thing. And I've got a section on my website, mygovexpert.com, that gives you all the details on CDRs and all that. But don't sweat it because CDRs are sent out based on your disability. When you file for disability, when you're approved, they determine whether they're going to send you one every 2 years or 3 years or 7 years or none at all or whatever the case may be. But it also is based on the budget, whether your local office. So maybe you were up, Donna, for a CDR last year, but your local office didn't have the money. So they said, okay, we need to send one to Donna. Do we have any money to do the whole CDR process? No, we don't have the money. So, okay, we won't do it. Okay, Donna, you're good for another year. Maybe we'll see you next year. So that's what's been happening with you. So don't sweat it until you get it. So had to sign up at 62. I had no other choice. I would have loved to have waited. Yeah. That's remember, even if you file at 62, you can work. And you make the 23,400 as long as you stay under that. If you go over that, then Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. And if they do end up holding back checks, they will recalculate that once you hit your full retirement age. So they will increase your monthly benefits once you hit your full retirement age if they withhold back checks because you worked too much. So, Ed, I think with the current economic conditions, most people are not going to wait until 70. I could be wrong. I started my Social Security at 68 and not looking back. Yep, there you go. Yeah, I think some people are still doing it at 70, but there's the economic conditions, personal economic condition. If you need the money, you need the money. That's a no-brainer. But there's also a lot of people are saying that they're going to go ahead and file for benefits now. They wanted to wait until they were 68, 69, or 70, or 67, or whatever the case may be. But they see that we have failed to make politicians fix Social Security, so the cuts won't happen. So the cuts are going to happen as of right now because we're not fixing it. So people are saying, well, if I'm going to get a 20% cut here in a few years, then I might as well start getting as much full checks as I possibly can, so I don't get the cuts. And some people will say, oh yeah, Congress is awesome. They'll fix it. Even though, we've had 30 years and we've been talking about this for 30 years. So I loved the parade yesterday in Washington. It was very well put together. My father was a 25-year-old Army major, retired. He was highly decorated officer. All right. Well, thank him for his service. Wow, major. Waiting to 70, you get an extra 28% more, but if no one removes the FICA cap, we end up losing 20%. It's not worth it. Yes, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Yeah. You get an extra 30%, but it really depends on when your full retirement age is. So, Joseph, happy Father's Day to everyone on your YouTube channel, Mr. Weir. Yeah, happy Father's Day to y'all. I don't want to live to be 80 plus. I don't want to. Only people who are super healthy and rich have good 80s decade. Otherwise, you're just a burden to family. I don't want. Oh, yeah. No, Lori, come on. No. You're going to, I'm going to be here for another 20 or 30 years, and you're going to be here for another 20, 30 years. And then I'm going to save this chat and I'm going to clip it. And then 30 years from now, I'm going to say, Lori, see what you wrote? See, aren't you happy you're still around? So if the Trump administration had not been destroying everything possible and illegally, mostly since day one, he might have had a better response to his parade idea. Okay. Let's see here. Can I set up a CDR notice by email or text? I live out of country. You can't do it by text, but email probably no, because CDRs are done by local offices and they don't have that system to do the email. They just send you out a packet. They send you out the long form or the short form. So if you live out of country, it's important that you keep in touch. So what a lot of people do is they set up a virtual post office. So you get a virtual post office, and anytime you get mail, they send you an email, says, hey, you've got something in your post office. Do you want us to open it or throw it away? Is it trash or whatever the case may be? So you can do that. And that way, when you get it, you're able to address it. So if I work on SSDI, will I trigger a review even if I stay under the amount? Normally, no. If you're on SSDI and you stay under, the trial work period or the substantial gainful activity, whatever the case may be, then usually no. And that's not that's usually not a medical review, because there's two types of CDRs, continuing disability reviews. There's the medical CDR about your disability, are you still disabled and all that. And then there's a work CDR, work continued disability review. So if something happens and you make more or go over the line, or sometimes what happens if you go like right up to the line every single month, that's kind of suspicious. It's like, hey, this person knows that the max they can make is 1620, and guess what? They make 1619 every single month. They know where the line is and they can probably work more. So always stay, under that amount. But if that might trigger a work CDR where they send out the package and it says, it looks like you've been working. We just want to make sure, you're staying under and all that kind of stuff. How much did you make last month? And how much did you actually work? And all those questions. So let's see here. I seem to be losing my voice a little bit, but Stephanie, what if you have been drawing disability earnings from SSA since 2008? I will be turning 70 soon. Should I draw retirement or disability if I can? No, again, you're already receiving your retirement benefits. You stopped receiving disability benefits 5 years ago. So you are receiving retirement benefits. But if you're going to be turning 70 soon, your benefits are maxed out on your own because you've been receiving disability benefits. But, are you married to anybody that you could get benefits on their record? Divorced from anybody that you were married to for 10 years? Married to anybody when they passed away? Check out all those. But as of right now, you're good. RO, thank you for all you do. You're welcome. Please help. I can't seem to get an answer. I am 71 and has offered a 6-month retro. I think you, asked the same question yesterday. Is there a loss moving forward if I take it, the 4% or et cetera? Okay, yeah, because you're 71, you filed late. Your benefits are not going to increase past 70. And because you're past your full retirement age, they can give you 6 months retroactivity. Sometimes Social Security employees miss this, but it's a good thing you're here. So yeah, they offered you the 6 months retros. Take it, and go on with your life. So yeah, there's no loss there. Not talking about taxes. If this puts you in a higher tax bracket because you're getting those Social Security checks, I don't do taxes. So, but in terms of Social Security, you're losing money every month you wait. Every month you wait, you're losing money. Is my lawyer still serving the judge a OTR and trying to skip the hearing altogether or sign? Okay, I'm not sure any of that. So Uh, it's because you're awesome, and I, for one, appreciate your wealth of knowledge. I appreciate it. I will be narcissistic and assume she was talking to me and not someone else here. Let's see. The Prowler. I want to work until October of 2026. That's 6 months after my 65th birthday, and I'd be after 60. How much can I work? So when you file before your full retirement age, we don't know what 2026 numbers are, but let's say this year it's 23,400. So next year it'll probably be 24, 25,000. So as long as you stay under that amount, then you're good. But remember, there's the monthly earnings limit as well. So go on to my website, mygovexpert.com, click on the retirement, and then click on what's the button, when to start. And at the bottom of it, it gives you all the information on the difference between the annual earnings limit and the monthly. So those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. That is correct. George Santana. Santana. Yeah, I think I got his last name right. I filed on May 2025, my birthday, May 2025. I turned 66 years old. I was born in 59. I work full time and will make about $35K on taxes in 2025. No reply yet from SSI, means SSA. How much can I make till 2025? Okay. So I turned 66 years old. So your full retirement age is probably 66 and 10 months. Or so if you turn your full retirement age this year, so the year you turn your full retirement age, the limits are different. So if you turn your full retirement age this year in 2025, which I don't think you do, I think you turned your full retirement age in next year. But you know what? There is some guy that provided an awesome calculator. And I can tell you, so your birthday is May 19th, 1959, 1959. And calculate your full retirement age. Your full retirement age is 66 and 10 months. So that is April of 2026. So this year you're limited to $23,400. But again, Social Security doesn't care what you earned before. Once you start your benefits, if you started your benefits in May, you have to make sure you stay under the monthly earnings limit, the 1950, for the rest of the year. Next year, you can make like 62, 63,000, and we're not sure what the numbers are next year, but you can make like $63,000 in the first 3 months, January, February, March. And then starting April, you can go back to making $1 billion a month. So there's that. So the nice little calculator there, full retirement age calculator, and it tells you when your full retirement age is and all that stuff. 100% free to use. What is the difference between the Medicare Advantage plan and a Medicare Advantage chronic plan? Okay, so they're both Medicare Advantage plans, but there's different types of Medicare Advantage plans. There's a chronic plan and a D-SNP, which is a dual eligible for people that have Medicare and Medicaid. So a chronic plan, so if you have like diabetes or heart disease, and depending on your particular area, state, there's different conditions, but usually it's like diabetes and heart disease, the chronic conditions. So those particular plans provide extra coverage benefits for those particular. There's extra focus on those particular diseases. I have found the one for diabetes because they, change the max out of pocket for insulin to $35 and stuff. They're trying to roll that back and stuff. But anyway, I have found the one for diabetes. Sometimes you say, "Oh, this is a special diabetes plan," but then if you look at the regular Medicare Advantage plans, you're like, "Oh, this is actually better for me." So sometimes they work out better, sometimes they don't. So I would definitely check someone that can compare and contrast. Again, you can reach out to Chapter and they can help you 100% and see which one, whether a chronic plan is best for you or a regular Medicare Advantage. So Let's see here. We are getting close to the end. I'm gonna find someone that I don't recognize here. Let's see. I don't think I recognize. This is Life 85. This is going to be the last question. Okay. For CDR, is moderate to marked an RFC form good enough? How to get support from doctors with Medicare vague medical notes who are hesitant to fill out the RFCs or letters looking to avoid a consultative exam? All right. So yeah, it sounds like your doctor is not helping. So maybe it's time to get another doctor. That's, if they're not helping you with that type of stuff to keep because, if your disability is stopped, then you just might lose Medicare and then you're going to lose your income. And none of that is going to help your physical or mental condition. Right. So isn't the doctor part of the person's Hippocratic oath to help you, be a better, healthy? And if they're saying, oh, I'll give you these prescriptions and all that other stuff I don't care about. Well, all that other stuff affects my daily life there, doc. So that's maybe you should think about that, number one. But whatever the doctor doesn't provide, doesn't fill out these the residual function reports. You can ask for the medical records because I'm sure the doctor writes stuff down in their medical records. So you could ask for that. Maybe they'll give you that, and you just add that to what they also write in the Social Security documentation, and just write your own. Write your own stuff and say, hey, I saw the doctor. I talked about this, and the doctor said this, and so add that in there and keep that. But yeah, if you have to go to a consultative exam and see a Social Security contracted doctor, then, it's not necessarily the end of the world. So Diane, $2 donation. Thank you. Appreciate it. You are too awesome. All right. We're over an hour, ran out of time again. I will be back again tomorrow and pick a topic, and then I'll answer a whole bunch of questions for the rest of the day. Y'all take care. Have a beautiful